Sir, I'm heartened to note that there is more support for families with infants or children under 18 months of age. The government's support for families, especially the additional CPF housing grant for first-timer couples buying resale flats and the increase in capacity of centre-based infant care to 8,000 by 2020 is indeed welcomed. As we move towards a more caring and inclusive society, people with disabilities are also included in the government's initiatives and for lower income families, such as use-safe rebates to mitigate increase in water tax. However, many skeptics doubt these measures are sufficient to moderate the cost of living and believe that consumers will take the brunt of the price increase. There is fear that cost increase may potentially spiral, and this should be addressed in two prongs. First, to ensure that sellers are not exploiting and profiteering from the situation, and second, to educate the people to be prudent in all aspects of their daily consumption. The sandwich class is usually the most affected, but given with the least support. These are the mid-level PMEs, the new vulnerable group of people, both in terms of securing employment and managing the family's cost of living. Perhaps the government can provide more short-term support for this group, especially when the economic prospects looks bleak with lower employment rate. Next, I'm glad that the ministry will be doing more to help caregivers and assisting people with disabilities find work. The third enabling master plan aims to better integrate people with disabilities with the workforce by giving more support to caregivers. This is a joint effort and initiative by the committee comprising with both private and public sector representatives. The Disability Caregiver Support Center is one promising initiative. I do hope that more can be done in assisting people with disabilities gain employment so that they can earn dignified living. For this, we will need corporate organizations to support the employment of people with not just mild disability but also moderate disability. My personal experience working with people with disabilities has been a promising one. They are consistent, reliable, and diligent, performing well in their given job scope. SG Enable has instituted programs to create awareness among companies and conduct training for potential corporate organizations which show a keen interest in hiring people with disabilities. We must applaud such organizations for their willingness and pursuit to do good in corporate social responsibility. With that in mind, I urge the government to consider providing some wage support for companies hiring people with disabilities as a permanent employee instead of offering them with contract-based employment. This will give the individuals and their caregiving families more certainty and assurance. I'm also heartened that over the next 5 years, the Ministry will provide additional funding up to $100 million in total to further develop the capabilities of our voluntary welfare organizations and charities. In an effort to attract and retain talents with the funding for VWO's Charities Capability Fund, we used to provide staff with training and better remuneration, especially for VWO's charities that provide some form of healthcare services. In this way, we can enhance the attractiveness of the sector, strengthen ability, and build up Singapore core. Thank you, sir.